What's up, you guys? This is Twinlesstwin. We're back for another match in this League of Modern, getting ready for the NRG 20K this weekend. On the draw, I am a fan of this hand. I mean, obviously you'd rather have the double Ragavan hand on the play, but still having that spell snare is going to give us some flexibility. No removal, so it could be weak to like an opposing Ragavan, but my understanding is those aren't super popular these days, so feeling pretty good about this hand. Alright, Scalding turn. Is it going to be a Ragavan? Did I jinx it? Steam Vents. Preordain. Whew! Dodged a bullet, guys. Dodged a bullet. So I guess here the decision we're going to have to make is between holding up Spell Snare or jamming a Ragavan. There's not really a great reason to hold up Spell Snare except for if they have a Ledger Shredder, but I think just like overall the better move here is going to be playing the Ragavan. More likely than not the Spell Snare won't convert next turn. Like in the mirror, Iteration, Counterspell are great Spell Snare hits, so plenty of options. Alright, and they kept one land. So our choices here are we could play Shredder. They did just use a Lightning Bolt and they don't have Delirium currently, so Shredder could be really safe. But the other option is Dash Ragavan, which is also pretty appealing. It'd give us a treasure, maybe get us a spell, and set up like Shredder plus an additional spell the following turn. Also keeps up Spell Snare, I guess, if that's relevant. I mean, the fact that they used a Bolt, like they have 3 more maximum, but if they have Unholy Heat, the Shredder's just going to be really good. I think Dashing Ragavan is still better. I mean, we have the opportunity to play the Shredder down the line. This Ragavan can get us a mana advantage, or... Oh, wow, okay, so we're playing against, not the Mirror, this seems like it's Phoenix, maybe? That's okay. Another Preordain. They hit their land and pass back. So here I'm like less inclined to Dash Ragavan, knowing that they probably do have a removal spell. They still don't have Delirium, so if it's not a Bolt, the Shredder would live. And we could Shredder plus use this. We could also just slow things down. We could Preordain of our own and wait a turn for the Shredder still. I'm kind of torn on that. Like, using the treasure to trigger the Shredder doesn't feel great to me. I mean, Spell Snare is down. They could have Iteration or this Faithless card that we saw them show us. But on the other hand, like, if they're cantripping a lot, getting the Shredder down now is going to be problematic for them to answer down the line. So maybe just jamming the Shredder and passing is the best move. I think that's actually probably the most reasonable line. Probably should have played the Surveil land first. Can get some info there, but Preordain. I think we can bin the Preordain. We already have a Preordain. Getting into the yard is going to accelerate how fast we can get this Murktide out. Like, our hand is all spells, so we have lots to do with our mana, as is. I'd rather find something like an Iteration, I think. Okay, Plotting Highway Robbery. Yeah, nice. That's a new card from the new set. I definitely was interested to see if that card would make an impact in Modern or Pioneer in Phoenix decks. I kind of expected Pioneer, but Modern as well, I guess. So let's start with Preordain. I don't think we need a second Spell Snare. We do know they have us 2 mana spell guaranteed. So the second spell snare could be considered here. Like, if we didn't know about this highway robbery on plot, then I would definitely not want a second spell snare. But, so the land is definitely going to the bottom. I think we're bottoming the snare as well. Bobble. Okay, we'll play bobble. I think just discarding a land here is best. Avoid the flood. Can bobble ourselves. Counterspell is perfect. And then I think I will just... Do I want to dash? Probably not. I think I just want to play Ragavan. I guess the upside to dashing is like thinking if they are Phoenix, they're trying to cast all their spells in the same turn. And so dashing might force them to like use the removal spell on our turn, but I think that having Spell Snare plus Counterspell up, if they do avert, like if we had dashed and they had a removal spell, then we wouldn't have Spell Snare plus Counterspell up, which seems pretty appealing to me. So I do think we should Spell Snare this. Alright, they plot another one. Gut Shot the Ragavan. A classic. So normally I say you just want to play a 6/6 Murktide or a 7/7 Murktide, but I'm not even sure they have Unholy Heat. Like, Delirium and Bauble, that whole package seems a little bit more difficult to support in a Phoenix shell because Bauble doesn't trigger Phoenix. So assuming we're putting them on Phoenix, I'm not even sure they have Unholy Heat, and I'd rather just get a 6/6 Murktide with Counterspell down. Oh shoot, I should have played the land, I think. I was gonna hold it because of like Shredder triggers, but they could have Spell Pierce. Okay. Trigger. I think I do want to get some counters on this Phoenix and this Ledger Shredder. I mean, they didn't have a bird to discard, so maybe we should just let this resolve. Save our counter spell for... I'm not sure, like, they probably have Iteration in their deck, I assume. Oh, Demi-Lich? Ooh. That's kind of scary. Morphos. Well, counterspelling that seems pretty appealing. It takes away 2 cards, or 2 mana, as well as a card. That might... Well, I guess they can already cast the Demi-Lich. Okay, maybe that was meant to resolve as well. Discard another Demi-Lich. Okay. So they're going to get a Phoenix and 2 Demi-Liches back. We do have lethal if we draw a spell. Or, actually that's not true. We need to draw a spell and then connive over a spell, I guess. Boom! Ooh, iteration. That's a good one. Alright, exile this heat. Bad shock. Heat this. Connive that. Alright, and we take down game 1. Alright, sideboarding. Well, I think that the surgical actually seems really strong here. Flusterstorm, probably pretty strong. Underworld Breach could be strong. Ultimately, my guess is, like, the removal spells won't be very strong. Probably want to shave some of those. Fawn could be fine. You don't really want to pitch cast the Fawn, and Dress Down seems not great either. Lots of not fantastic cards. But I guess actually we're probably fine on this. Probably just taking out these heats. Killing the recursive creatures doesn't seem great. I guess there's a chance they have Ledger Shredder still. So if they have Shredder, we have Borrower, 2 Spell Snares, 1 Heat, 4 Bolts. Do we feel good about that? Do we want a second Heat? I'm not super excited about the Fawn. It's really just like a 3-mana cancel. Pitch casting it seems pretty poor. So I guess I could just go without it. Like, we don't need the counters that desperately that we're going to play a 3-mana counter. It's probably the right stance to take there. This hand's pretty weak. Like, again, Heat's not great. Not even close to Delirium. 4 lands, including the Thundering Falls. It's just, yeah, I'm gonna mulligan this. This hand's a lot better. Alright, so we can put back a fetch land. Maybe we were supposed to try to, like, protect this Ragavan with a Flusterstorm. I probably should have thought of that a little bit longer. But because their deck is so full of cantrips, Ragavan has to be a super premium card in the matchup, I would imagine. Alright. Metamorphose, a scary way for them to start their turn. I'm gonna go, like, looting and then gut shot me. Scry 2 top and then bolt. Okay. Let's do a bobble trick on ourselves. I think counterspell seems fine. We already have 2. Maybe we're looking for, like, Murktide or cantrips or something. Guess we can just... Yeah, I think it's fine, but it's not super exciting. Getting some pressure on the opponent is probably pretty important when their creatures are all pretty recursive. They just have a ton of cantrips in their deck, but I guess this is the reward for keeping the counter spells. Now we get to, like, get rid of this lightning bolt. Probably just want to get the Surveil land here. Get rid of a land. I think I want to counter this. Letting them discard one of their, you know, creatures and then also draw 2 is pretty strong. Okay. Alright, so they get a Phoenix back. Now we have all these counter spells. Play out this DRC and pass. Pick your poison. I mean, we could counterspell, so they discarded robbery, so what could their hand be? Their hand could really be anything at this point. I guess we know they're not flooding. They have a lot of spells in hand, probably. Because otherwise they would have discarded a land. If we counterspelled this, they could... I mean, it seems like they don't have another Phoenix, but... I'm just going to counterspell this. I want the Surveil. I want to keep my DRC around, ideally. My expectation is probably that the DRC dies, but, like, yeah. Need to filter basically anything that's not, like, a Murktide Regent right now. Because we're going to fall behind on board. Like, more counterspells are just not very productive. When they already have the Phoenix, we're losing this race. I guess the weird thing is our DRC is going to have to attack into their Phoenix, and then they can just bring it back the next turn, so maybe I shouldn't be fighting over DRC. Yeah, I wouldn't be upset if they killed it again. At least I got my value, surveilled the Pierce away, traded off one of my counter spells. Like, if I don't do anything there, they might just pass, and then we've wasted all our mana again, which is probably not good. Alright, so I think I want an iteration here, looking for a land, ideally. Ooh, Murktide Regent could be good, too. Surgical. Unfortunately, no removal spell, so we have to Surgical. Do we even want a Surgical here? Because it's going to put us at a lower life total. Puts an extra spell in the yard. So then our Murktide has 1, 2, 3, 4. We'd make 2 7/7s. I feel like that should be good enough. I don't think we need 2 8/8s. And the information on their hand could be valuable. Maybe just take out their pick your poisons so that our Murktides are more protected. So yeah, I guess their threats are just the recursive creatures, no Shredder or anything. Can probably take out Heats for game 3 if it goes that way. They also just don't really have ways to answer Murktide Regent. Like, they have the pick your poisons, that's it, 4 of those. But since we surgicaled them, they're now on basically no outs to these Murktides. Okay, that's good. So their hand was a Salvaging and a Morphos. Okay. I think just trading this Flusterstorm off here is good. Like, they have 5 mana already, so I'm not feeling super confident that it's going to be getting any more better. Sorry. Alright, let's get some info on what they're drawing for turn, but my guess is we're just slamming a Murktide. Alright, a Demi-Lich. So they're drawing a Demi-Lich. Oh, does the salvaging come off? So they're gonna get to draw an additional card. They draw Demi-Lich plus one other. The risk is if they draw like Bolt or something, the question is how big we make this Murktide, because we want to make it as small as possible so the second Murktide could be big, but we also don't want this Murktide to be like dying to removal. I think that just making it a 4 is fine. I guess now Gut Shot also works for them, if along with the Phoenix. So I could have made it a 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then I would have had a 6 and a 9, or 6 and an 8. Yeah, that might have been better, actually, to make it a 5. Then they have to find actual bolts. Alright, they drew a land, so... we're doing okay now. This Demi-Lich can flash back Lightning Bolt. A little scary. We'll just Bobble Trick ourselves. They have a fetch over there anyways, so... fetching... I think we do want to attack. Just putting them dead next turn. If we don't attack, then they just get more time, right? If they do chump block, we can probably, like, we can counterspell whatever they do to try to bring back the Phoenix. So they can't cantrip chain and bring it back. I guess now that if they top deck a Phoenix, we die. We're probably just counterspelling anything. So we actually don't want to counterspell this. We have to counterspell the Bolt they flash back with the Demi-Lich. So basically we're just hoping that they didn't hit here. They hit a Demi-Lich, that's fine. Just need it not to be a Bolter. Blocking on the Demi-Lich because they do have Gut Shot in their deck, so going to 1 would be ill-advised. Alright, and we got him. Alright, I'll see you guys in the next match.